and welcome. I am Jack O'Brien, Managing Editor of MM+M, and this is the MM+M Agency 100 video series. I'm joined today by two friends of the brand from ConcentricLife and Accenture. We have Enslo Cable and Ken Bagassi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate you being on the show here. Want to hop into all things ConcentricLife and how you performed last year in 2024, but let's take our audience back a little bit to the partnership with Scout Health, to the acquisition by Accenture. Talk to me a little bit about how that has changed ConcentricLife and where it's going into the future.
Well, I think even before we joined Accenture, I think ConcentricLife and obviously the founding partners, but everyone who's ever come to Concentric has always been committed to change, right? We embrace change. We view change as a positive. We don't view change as something that is happening to us, but something that we're in control of. And then we joined Accenture. We're literally let there be change is their moniker. So we joined Accenture really because we felt that there's going to be continuous change in our marketplace. Our clients are going to be experiencing and having to adapt and be agile with this change. And there really was no better place for us to help our clients deal with that change and that reinvention that's needed than with Accenture. So we're excited when we look forward, and Enslo and I work extremely closely together on this. We're really looking to establish relevance for our clients' brands with their customers, continual relevance. And that is the way we actually bring the brands in our communication and our experience to life with their customers. But I think internally we have to recognize that the playbook that we all, clutched tightly before is really irrelevant. And so we need to help our clients embrace that change, reinvent the way that they actually operate, the way that they support that ambition of being the most relevant brands for their customer. And so when you look at Accenture and you look at ConcentricLife, it's a perfect marriage. And it was really purposeful, the reason why we joined them, because we just believed there was no other place better for ConcentricLife and our clients to be able to kind of future-proof their brand and future-proof themselves, as a client base.
And I want to get into more of the relationship between you and your clients, especially in such a volatile marketplace, both from a political and economic perspective. But I want to ask you, Enslo, about kind of how this relationship with Accenture and ConcentricLife has evolved over the past, 1 or 2 years since the acquisition. Where do we stand right now?
Well, I think we should go back to why we bought ConcentricLife, or why we decided to partner together in the first place. We had a missing piece of our capabilities, which is the ability to build life sciences. Accenture, we call them life sciences. Many people refer to them as pharma brands. So that focus on the brand itself and getting as close to the end customer as possible. We had everything else, commercial strategy development on down to medical engagement. But when it came to really thinking about brand purpose and end user and customer needs, emotional needs, as well as rational therapeutic needs, we were really missing that piece of the puzzle. But we had omni-channel, or the ability to distribute those messages or that brand purpose out into the world. We had that capability. We also have sort of a world-class ability to produce content at scale and push it out into the world. So we were really kind of missing this central piece of our puzzle, and that's what ConcentricLife brought to the party. Initially, in the first year, we take kind of mergers and the integration of people and skills very cautiously. Want to preserve what's so special about ConcentricLife and the capabilities that they bring. But as you move into year 2 and then beyond, it's really about taking that talent and the real leadership position that ConcentricLife had and pushing it into the other groups. And so now we work in these blended teams. We'll bring a commercial strategist. We'll bring a brand strategist, someone that's really deep into medical engagement, someone that really understands the omni-channel aspect of how you're going to go to market. So if you think about it, you'll have commercial strategy, what is my opportunity? You'll have brand strategy, okay, how do I want to position this in the marketplace? And then you'll have an omni-channel strategist all working together. So in these blended teams. So what is my opportunity? How do I need to position myself in the marketplace? What does my end consumer really need? And then how am I going to support it in the marketplace? All working together, it allows us to get to market faster, as opposed to most companies do it in a waterfall approach, commercial strategy, da-da-da-da-da. We're doing it all at once in these blended teams. So it allows us to get to market faster with increased impact and really working with our clients in a completely new way, which I think we're uniquely able to do in the market, this blend of capabilities, but also our heritage is not just technology coming from Accenture, it's the consulting aspect of things. And consulting comes with the ability to transform companies. So a strong change management capability, a strong way to identify how to work better. Not just how do we do our work better, but how can our clients work amongst themselves better and with us better. So when you couple this complete set of capabilities working in these blended teams with the ability to bring a change management and a transformation lens to it all, that's where the special sauce is really coming to life now. And that's what we are working on and working with our clients, kind of this best practice leading away now that we're into year 2.
And that's kind of what I want to pull on threads on a little bit, is when we've been going through all these different agencies that we talk with for the list, the focus has really been on differentiation and disruption. I'm curious how that kind of plays into what you guys are doing with your clients. And maybe, we're halfway through 2025 right now, but what does that look like in terms of being able to work with clients and being able to say, hey, we want to make an impact in whatever your target market is, or get you in front of X, Y, and Z audience?
Do you want to take that follow-up, or I can...
I have a point of view on it, but I think the biggest differentiation, which Enzo was alluding to, is, again, we joined Accenture because we recognized that advertising and marketing couldn't answer all our clients' needs and questions. And they were piling up, right? We were sitting in a great space. They trusted us. They would come to us, and there was stuff that obviously we could do, and then there was stuff that was beyond what we can do. What I think really differentiates us is, when you have that client trust, we can continue to build upon that client trust, and within 24 hours, we can bring not just a capability, but expertise to our client, regardless of whether or not it's sitting within the marketing realm or, to be honest, anywhere else. And I think that is the power of the scale of the organization, the power of the diversity of capabilities and expertise that sits within Accenture. And our job is to make Accenture small for our clients. And that's what that blended team does. That blended team's constantly looking at the opportunity. Is it on brand? How do we help our clients answer the challenges that they're experiencing and make it focused for them? And I think that's a part of our differentiation.
Yeah, you see the holding companies kind of trying to rush into this world, right? Where they're talking about or striving towards a one P&L structure, they create these blended teams, like large teams that are supposedly working on, one client or one account, where they're plucking from different agencies. But anyone that has worked at a holding company, which I have, I joined Accenture almost 10 years ago, but before that, I was within the holding company structure. It's so hard to do, because just the way people are incentivized, the way agencies are run, different management structures, it's completely different at Accenture, where there is only one P&L. It isn't, and it is irrelevant where you pull someone from. It doesn't matter who gets the revenue. You're able to, like Ken said, call a group and have somebody on the business within 24 hours. That's kind of one strong piece of differentiation. 2 really is the breadth of capabilities that we have. So it's not just the commercial consulting side, which again, holding companies are attempting to add into their mix. It's a big part of our heritage, right? Technology, business consulting, and transformation are kind of Accenture's bread and butter. So bringing that commercial strategy into the mix is innate to us, but it is that transformation piece that I mentioned before. When we started talking to Ken, 2 or 3 years ago, he was saying the same things. I can't bring the skills. I don't have the capabilities that my clients need to really like evolve their business. As marketers have gone from being like brand builders to business owners, they need a broader set of capabilities. It can't like live in this comms brand bubble. It needs to expand into this commercial strategy, and you have got to transform to be a business builder. And that's true in and out of the pharma space. This is basically the pressure that marketers are under that we're responding to and really helping them with business needs.
Yeah, I would think that anybody, primarily our audience are medical marketers, but I imagine people that are working in retail, consumer goods or something that resonates there. And you talk about building out this breadth of capabilities. Obviously, the number one thing that comes to a lot of people's minds is AI and the advancements with those innovations. What has that been like within your agency, and obviously being able to leverage the scale that you have to be able to say, hey, we have these different generative AI offerings or X, Y, and Z. Like, what does that look like for the agency?
Oh my God. Well, what a crazy, exciting time in the world of both marketing and beyond. So I started work quite some time ago at a digital agency, actually. And at the time, the mantra there was everything that can be digital will be. And that was like 25 years ago. And so that became true, right? It wasn't at all the case then. It's really easy to sort of forget that we couldn't always just bank on our phones or do any of the things that we now just totally take for granted. And obviously we're at the beginning of a total next wave evolution or revolution in how end customer experience will be felt, right? And we as marketers haven't even begun to think about how it's going to evolve in 10 or 15 years, like what we see and feel out into the world. But we have started to think about how it evolves, how we do work. And how we do work is also just at the beginning point of a complete evolution or revolution of how work gets done. And you might see it in your day-to-day, just now how you start to do research might have changed. And if you're a content producer, you have likely evolved how you work too. So we see those two spectrums changing the quickest. So how I do research and how I make stuff, because those were the things that kind of came out of the gate the quickest. And Accenture has evolved tools for our staff as well to do that. On top of that, there's been in the press a significant investment that we've made, a $3 billion investment in AI. The way it is touching us and our clients is the development of it's a digital platform. We call it Song AI, coming out of Accenture Song. We sit in Accenture Song. Song AI, which is our workbench that we access all of our tools from. So Song AI, if you think about Gen AI and the three components of it, it's how does work get done? What is the work that I'm making, and what's my access point for those tools? So Song AI is the access point for these tools, and that is a huge investment that we've been making at Accenture Song to create. It's an enterprise layer that allows us to tap into the strategy AI agents that we have, the creative agents that we have, but on down to the data and analytics agents that we have, all working together to evolve how we work. The new saying really is everything that can be automated will be, and that is the end vision, always, of course, with human intervention in the right spots. You're never going to be able to replace pure creativity. You're never going to be able to replace, how do I extrapolate an emotional aspect to these insights that have been generated to me from this agent that this Gen AI agent that I've been working with. So Accenture and I certainly don't have a vision where it's all digital agents doing work, but it can rapidly change and speed up how we do work, completely transforming how we think about how we do strategy work, how we think about doing creative briefing, how we think about generating assets. And we rely on humans to bring the magic. And the magic is sometimes the form of strategic thinking. It's always involved in great creative ideas, for sure. That was a very long answer to your question.
But it makes sense, and it ties in a lot of different trends that I've seen and other insights that I've gathered from leaders across the industry. And I appreciate you talking about that idea that like anything that can be automated will be automated, but that's not to say the entire process will be. And Ken, I want to get your thoughts on it because you highlighted the point of like there's going to be human intervention, and if anything, it's just going to be another very powerful tool in that toolkit.
And a differentiator, right? Like if everything can be automated, the people that can get to automation in the best way with the best data and the most salient points will differentiate, but the people that can still bring the magic, that's always a point of difference.
Definitely. And so I want to get your thoughts about it from an agency side, just even how it's impacted, say, the day-to-day work that you see coming out of ConcentricLife.
Well, the first thing that we did with AI, I mean, everyone was playing with AI on their own, right? And that's more on the generative side of it. But the thing that we thought that would really help us as an agency really kind of supercharge our thinking and our core value proposition, which is really to make brands matter deeply, was to use data and AI as an accelerator to help us truly understand our customer in a meaningful way that would have taken, to be honest, would have taken a long period of time for our clients to be able to do the research to be able to understand that. And once they understood it, it was old news, right? Because people are constantly evolving. This is the part of the constant change. So we built with Accenture, on the Accenture platform, the ability to use AI to help us build synthetic personas and synthetic profiles of our customers, where we're able to gain insight from it. We're able to test and validate creative ideas and also test and create creative messaging against those kind of evolving personas, and then integrate it into our work process, which I think is amazing because our clients are always, again, there's always going to be some challenge. So it's not just about awareness and driving awareness. It's not just about pulling through on the bottom, at the back end, on the bottom end of the funnel. The real decisions are being made in the middle, right? Our customers are making decisions on who they're going to be, which GLP-1 are they going to actually use? And that conversation's in the middle. And often I think we're not focused on that enough. And so this AI tool helps us truly understand how are people making decisions? Where do they see value? How do we apply our value proposition to what matters most to them, as opposed to, let me tell you what I think our value proposition is. And so that AI has really changed the way we are getting to strategic hypothesis quicker with deep insight, but it's also helping our creative process because now we can actually have different audience focus in a global campaign. And we're doing that obviously with our clients right now, and it's like you see their eyes open up when they can finally see it, something tangible. So they're not just taking a chance on this is the right direction. We're kind of predictive, in this is the strategy, this is the execution, and then let's learn and adapt.
Yeah, it's very much like being in high school or something. It's like show your work. Like it's not enough to just say like, oh yeah, 2 + 2 equals. It's like walk through everything there. And I'm curious too, you talk about this idea of like being able to understand where your clients are trying to go, and it's not a dictatorial relationship where it's like I'm telling you that this is the market or this is the strategy you want to go with. How has that evolved over the past year or so? Because there has been so much uncertainty out there. I'm sure clients are looking at you saying like, hey, we need you as more than an agency. We need a strategic partner here.
We're operating. We're lucky to be operating in a marketplace that, again, if you had looked at say the obesity marketplace 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you would never expect this to be the marketplace that we have here today. Since when do we compete with generic versions of ourselves with really great customer experience, ease of access, like him and hers? That you could have never seen that coming, right? So our clients are constantly tapping us going, I need new, I need new audiences. I need to be able to continue to fuel the growth and the expectations of our management. And I need to be able to make our brand meaningful and a little bit ubiquitous, but I need it to be meaningful to these core customers because these are the pockets in the marketplace that I need to own. That's a commercial go-to-market conversation, as well as it is takes imagination from the brand strategy side to come in and say, so this is the pocket. How do we get there? That's where the creative part comes in, and so that's where I think the power of this relationship matters. I mean, you don't know this. She does this for every client. It could be tech, it could be retail, it could be food. She's helped build.
But you prefer pharma.
But
Obviously.
we have grabbed her. We're not letting her go.
Yeah. No, it's been, also we've done exciting things together that we are now bringing outside of pharma too. When Ken was talking about the synthetic personas, I don't know if you've seen the synthetic persona in action, but it is very eye-opening and very different from how we've operated in the past. And the way we've created them was reasonably unique with ConcentricLife's data lead. So taking unstructured data is also known as conversational data, out in across the marketplace around the world. So finding, grabbing unstructured data about your target audience. And it could be you're close in, right? You might already have a commercial strategy and you want to focus on a couple of particular audience types, or you might be in a commercial strategy exploratory phase when you kind of want to know what's going on in the landscape. So you take this conversational data and then you marry it with business data, and you marry it with like data that you have from, like therapies or syndicated data. And you create first the ability to look at it, and it creates these personas for you. And so you can start to understand them better, even from a commercial perspective. And then you can choose the ones that you think work best. And again, if you think about a commercial strategist working with a brand strategist, to think about, okay, what if it was this type of positioning in the marketplace and you see the personas responding to it? Mm-hmm. What if it was this kind of positioning? You see them responding to it. So you are kind of picking your market, so to speak, and your positioning together in this bundle, which is very unique way of working, super exciting. And to Ken's point around relevance, this like ability to hone in on what's really relevant for these audiences right from the get-go, and then kind of carry that through into what kind of creative speaks to them as well. Ken also mentioned the ability to do this globally, and what kind of like clusters drive relevance, or what kind of persona really you're going to focus on in different markets. It allows you to understand broadly what your positioning should be, but like getting to the minutia of it, in Spain versus, in the States, or in France versus Germany. And so we're now able to take a positioning and hone it a bit without getting too slicey and dicey, so you can't operationalize it in a way that we really couldn't before. It's super interesting times. We're having a really good time doing this stuff. And it does change like monthly, for sure, how we're approaching it, as we push ourselves to stay ahead of the market.
No, but it's key too. You're talking about basically taking out a lot of the guesswork from taking educated guesses on like how you should be doing things. And I appreciate you bringing up the example of the work in these international spaces too, because obviously we're seeing a lot of your competitors expanding abroad, and you have to be able to say like, hey, if we're going to compete in Asia, Europe, Africa, you name it, we got to have the right messaging, the right go-to-market strategy there.
Yep,
so that's key too.
It is key. We love it's very hard to work at the global level and the market level because sometimes clients are
not compatible.
Exactly. But we're using this as somewhat, like you said, show your work as a way to say, okay, this is like actually what is happening in the market. Here's how people are responding. And working with the markets in partnership with global teams a little bit closer than we've been able to do in the past.
Definitely, collaboration is the most effective
And
way.
it's not a year cycle. I mean, you think about it. That used to be, yearly, right? You go through varying levels of research, ATUs, whatever. Those are 6 to 8 months before you really get the so-called readout on those. By that time, you're acting on old information. So this cycle is it's fluid. So we can get to the answer within the week of where you sit in that particular cluster with that particular audience, and we can make those adjustments. And then we can see if there's any similarities with other ones so that we can then push that out to those other markets so that those markets can all be activated in the same way. And I think that's the power of AI. It's the power of data. And then I think it's the power of our model being able to, again, merge traditional consulting with some creative imagination, both on the strategic and creative side, and then having the scale to be able to deliver a precise omnichannel experience across the world.
Yeah, no, and it's so key too, where you talk about it from a perspective of like your client wants to have those answers quicker than not, and so you got to be able to go out there and deliver it to them.
I feel, it's funny because I feel kind of like bad for our clients when I look. You always have to have your customer point of view, right?
Yeah.
So they are on the front line,
Yeah,
and they are being asked questions internally. They obviously are motivated to help answer the questions of their customers externally. And quite honestly, they're not well equipped, both internally and with their partners, because traditionally the way that they're working with partners is having multiple partners, and most of their time is managing those partners, right? So they're spending all this time managing those partners and trying to make sure we're pulling those things together, when reality is they only want to be closer to the customer because they really just want to know what the customer wants and needs so they can make a difference. This model takes that all out of the way. And I think what we're here to do is help solve that problem for our clients by having the go-to resource for them, and then having the capabilities and the point of view to help them get closer to their customers so that they can continue to drive relevance.
yeah, no. Ken and Ensel, it's been wonderful having you on the show here, and it's been great to be able to, again, see how you're taking a lot of these innovations and turning them into real, meaningful practice and insights for your clients. And I'm curious, just with the go forward, what people can expect from ConcentricLife and from Accenture as a whole going forward in the medical marketing space.
Well, Jack, this is a little bit of a scoop, I guess, but we will be going out as Accenture Song Life Sciences with ConcentricLife, part of that, our Health Unlimited friends as part of that, all our combined capabilities. So we are positioning all of our what we call life sciences capabilities, our pharma capabilities, under one umbrella, Accenture Song Life Sciences, a force to be reckoned with all of the other kind of major players in the space. Full set of capabilities, really very much differentiated services. So there is a lot of excitement within Accenture Song for this, and stay tuned for big things.
Excellent. That's a perfect tease to go out with there. But again, really appreciate you both being on the show. Ken and Enslow for joining us on the MM+M Agency 100 video series. I'm Jack O'Brien, Managing Editor. Thank you for joining us.